Are you ready to go? I'm Richie Wilson from Fire Steakhouse and Bar on Dawson Street. And I want to show you how to make the most simple French onion soup. So we're going to start off with a little drizzle of olive oil. That just raises the cooking temperature of our pot. And then we're going to add a good helping of butter. As that butter is melting down, we're going to add in some white onion. Doesn't matter if it's pretty roughly chopped, but fairly evenly chopped, nice even slices. And along with it, red onions. Nice big pinch of rock salt and a little pinch of cracked black pepper. So we've got two different types of onions in here. The red onion really quite sweet and the white onion very sharp. The two balance each other out really nicely, and the red onion, as it cooks down, that's going to give us our very distinctive dark brown colour from a French onion soup. Alongside this, I've got another pot going, and into it I'm going to put a good half bottle of red wine. Don't be afraid of it. When we're cooking with red wine, we should never think that we should be using the plonk or the cheap stuff. It doesn't have to be the best thing on the shelf, but it certainly shouldn't be bad. It'll come out in the cooking. We're going to let that red wine reduce by half and half again until it really comes down to a nice, rich, dark, ruby red, ready to go into our soup. So we're going to continue to gently saute these onions. Don't try and rush this. If we fry them too quick, we'll get a bitter, sharp soup, and that's not what we're after at all. Now, when we've got this lovely dark colour going on with our onions, I'm going to turn the heat down, and it's at this point we can add our garlic. If we'd add that garlic beforehand, it goes bitter, it goes sharp, it caramelizes with the onion, and that's not what we want. We want to keep it nice and sweet, adding to the flavour of the soup, not taking from it. Roughly chopped, the same as the onions. It's quite a rustic dish after all, and we're just going to sweat them in there. Now we're ready to add our stock. For me, I prefer a little bit of chicken stock, but there's no reason why we can't keep this dish completely vegetarian and add a vegetable stock. For now, let's just get the stock in. Now, we're ready to add our already reduced red wine into our soup. It's still got to cook for another 10-15 minutes on a very gentle rolling simmer, and be careful not to break up the onions, they're quite delicate now. Okay, so while we're waiting, let's make a few croutons. Just a very simple focaccia. I've broken it up just by hand. Don't even worry about how you cut it. The rougher it is, the crustier it's going to be, and the crusty bit is what we want at the top of our soup. So, rough cut focaccia, good glug of olive oil, spread them all around on the pan, and just a little bit of rock salt, no harm. Into the oven, 180 degrees until they're golden brown and nice and crisp. And that's perfect. Nice golden brown, rusticness to them, crispy, ready to soak up the soup. Our final few steps, we need to just check the seasoning on the soup. Just with everything else that you cook, checking the seasoning is so important. This tastes really good. Doesn't need any salt or pepper, but this recipe does call for a little white wine vinegar. All we're trying to do is just cut through that little layer of fat. Just that acidity will just open up your palate and let you taste those onions in full. And now we can plate it up. This already smells gorgeous, but we're going to add the final touches to it. Our crunchy croutons all across the top, and that allows us to float some nice Gruyere cheese. And the final touch on every French onion soup, let's just caramelize that cheese. So, if you don't have the blowtorch at home, under the grill is perfectly fine. And there it is, French onion soup, a classic.